Yo, what's up, all you burner stones and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
I'm ready to get terpy derpy.
And you want to know why?
Why?
Because we got Midwest Terps in the house. Say hi, fellas.
Hey, how you guys doing, man?
What's up, y'all?
Hey, all you vipers out there in the world. Hope you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. And we're about to get normal. And what are we smoking, fellas?
Pink lemonade.
Pink lemonade. Mrs. Weedman, light that joint up and let's get us smoking. So today, we've had you on the show before. It was a fun time having you last time. And now we're here to talk about something different. I'm super stoked. We're talking about salts versus organics, little home grow, caregiver fire that you grow, and big winners of your first cup of the year, fellas. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you for having us, man. The
Delicious.
last time we were here, it was an excellent time. Couldn't wait to get back. We were just talking about it on the way here. One of our favorite podcasts to be on, for sure.
Thank you.
Oh my God, this pink lemonade. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's amazing.
Are you
It's
fucking
really
kidding me right now?
flavorful.
Well, when I smelt it, it smelled like pink, like the old country time lemonade. Good old fashioned lemonade. Gotta mix it with a little Sprite though, it's just too sweet.
I know that, yeah.
Yeah.
But that is
really good.
Oh my gosh. Did you just harvest that?
It's been curing for about 2 weeks. Yep.
And you told us last time how you do your cure. So you just hang that baby to dry and just keep on pulling it as like just pulling an apple from a tree.
Yes, sir.
Right?
We have a climate-controlled room where it pretty much dries and cures. So if we don't get to it in a feasible time to trim, it marinates on the branches, and we kind of do a grab and go. So
Nice.
It works out.
Tell us a little bit about this pink lemonade.
The pink lemonade is actually a lit farm strand that we hunted in-house. We hunted it, I think, mid last year, and we entered it into the Gems and Genetics. I believe it was the summer or fall cup that we went into. I think it was the fall cup, but we came straight off of a pheno hunt, entered it into the Gems and Genetics, and it took first place in the sativa.
Yeah.
So,
And we get
I
to
think
smoke
this is
it.
a new one for you guys. I
Yeah,
don't
it
think
is.
We've shared it with you
No.
since we've entered it and won, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few strains on the table we have. Lake Effect, top line right there.
The
That's
people's-
top,
the people's
top
champ.
tier. Yeah, the
Yeah.
people's champ right there. And what other strains did you bring by?
Juicy fruit. We brought
Which
the pink.
smells fucking like juicy fruit. And the flavor is probably going to last a lot longer than
Yeah.
fucking normal juicy fruit.
For sure, the name definitely correlates with the smell and taste. And pink lemonade, and then we had the Lake Effect, and then we also had the apple banana sundae, which is a sour diesel cross with apple banana sundae, which stuck with the name apple banana sundae. But definitely a heavy indica, and the terps on that are.
Yeah.
Well, the bud structures that I was pulling out and looking at, I mean, oh my gosh, sticky, icky, dicky, and just phenomenal looking bud structure too, and terpene structure. I cannot wait to get it on the microscope and start looking at the insides of the innards of those buds. I'm looking forward to seeing those trikes.
Yeah, you got to share those images when you do it. I'm interested to
We
see.
man, the science guy.
If we have enough time before you go, we'll bust it out real quick and
Nice.
put a couple ones underneath there.
Nice.
I got the microscope over there. So, speaking of great flower, how's your garden treating you? I mean, every time I talk, I see pictures. I'm not on social media anymore, so Mrs. Weedman shows me some pics and stuff like that, and she's amazed. She goes, "How the fuck does he get this shit so terpy? I mean, so much like crystals and trichomes and
The trichomes just your plants just look overwhelmed with trichomes. Like they're beautiful.
Yeah,
They're
they
so
look heavy sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the garden doesn't treat me the best all the time. There's a lot of behind the scene things that you don't see in the garden. But for the most part, it's been okay. It's been an up and down ride. But I think the consistency has kicked in within the last year. So like now we've hit that point to where we know where we need to be with the strains that we have, and everything's dialed in, so we can revert back to our notes that we have. And of course, I talk to him sometimes because he's an avid visitor in the garden, so he notices some changes sometimes. But I think we're dialed in, and I think all the hiccups and the bumps for the most part have passed us.
That made me think, like, do different strains require different processes sometimes?
They do different feeds, light, heavier. Some need more light, some need less. It's an up and down battle. The last harvest we just did, we had 40 different strains in there, so we had 40 different personalities in the room. So it's hard to find a happy medium, but over the years we've come to learn our strands. And then sometimes I ask Tom, like, "Hey, what did we do the last time?" He was like, "I think we did this. The light was here," because he's a 6-foot monster, so he can gauge some of the plants, height level to where he's standing and where they were the last time. But I mean, you get to know your strands, and then once you get to know your strands, you can dial them in and definitely find what plants need something and what don't. And then like I said, you find the happy medium.
Mm-hmm. And you could probably look at a plant and kind of know what it needs.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, he did outside with the plant he gave us.
Yeah.
He went outside and that looked like it went to flower, but it looks like it's re-vegging. He knew right away. It's like, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. But when we have a plant, we try to push the plant as hard as we can so we could see how the plant reacts. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you'll see different deficiencies. You'll see weak traits, strong traits, and that will give you an indication of what you need to do and what you don't need to do on the next run.
Let's talk about this salt and organics, man. You started up. I'm super stoked about this competition you guys are going to be doing. Tell us how this idea came about. Now, you've been in a lot of competitions, though. You've been in competitions in Michigan. You've done some competitions here. What brought this all about for you to start a salts versus organics? And since you've been in a lot of competitions, this is your first competition you're basically doing yourself, starting it, headlining it, showcasing it, trying to get all the vendors, all the fucking people to give their bud to you. And you brought some extra people, some help in too with this, which is great. Yeah. So tell us how the salt and organics came about and the idea was born.
I definitely can't take all the credit for it. My partner Tom here was with me when we came up with the idea, and then we have a third party, Myra, which is a 420 baby. So she came on board.
She's born at 420?
No, this is her.
That's her tag.
This is her brand name, 420
I didn't realize that's the same person. Okay.
So, we got the 3-headed dragon. So the idea started between me and this guy. And then, as you said, the idea came from all the competitions that we entered collectively last year. And as you guys know, in the growers community, there's a lot of organic this, salts this, better that, better this. So all the competitions we did, it's never revealed as to who grew organically or who grew with salts, and nobody ever gets the recognition on their style of growing. So we came up with the idea, there's a lot of back and forth as to who has the better style, who has the best product. So why don't we do an event to where we can showcase both aspects of the salts and the organics, and bring them together, not to separate anything, but to more or less just to showcase both sides and to show that when done correctly, salts is just as good as organics, or organics is just as good as salts.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
So it's just to highlight the people that, may go under the radar. So there may have been an organic person that won, or a salts person like we do. And, I just think it should be revealed as to who's doing what. So, you can get the right recognition, and then now you got the bragging rights. So now you got something to stand behind when you say salts is better than organics, or organics is better than salts.
Yeah.
Right.
So to throw down the next question, though, so will it be a friendly throwdown, or is it straight up fucking competition?
It's a friendly throwdown. And again, to highlight both sides. And again, if it's done correctly, I don't think that you would be able to tell if it's an organic product or a salt product. So we did bring in a team of ganjiers to do the judging. We won't have anything to do with the judging. He's not judging it. I'm not judging it. We picked up some entries, and we didn't look at any of the entries. We may have looked at it if it was offered to us by one of the participants that dropped it off. But for the most part,
right into the vault.
Yeah.
Lock it up.
Huh.
Who's the ganjiers that are helping you out?
We got Danny was one of the judges for the Urban Legend.
There you go.
Yeah. So we brought him on board, and then he put a team together. So he was pretty much the overseer. And then I think collectively there was 3 people underneath him. So
nice. How long do they have? Are they going to be consuming everything that day at the competition, or are they leading up to the competition?
Leading up to the competition, we started drop-offs on the 31st of May, and then the last drop off is June 7th.
Nice.
Yeah, so we gave a little bit over 2 weeks.
Yeah,
week,
that's good.
A week.
There you
Yeah.
go.
'Cause I think it's important to really, like, when you're judging stuff, to be able to really process it.
Yeah.
Because we've been to competitions before where everything's on-site competition. You know, like 3 strains in, you have no idea what anything is anymore,
Yeah.
right? Right? That's tough.
Yeah,
You know?
I think at that point it boils down to bag appeal and terps
Yeah.
because you're fried after,
Right.
like you said, after
Yeah.
the first.
And you're giving everybody a full almost month to smoke, taste, maybe hit it a couple more times.
Yeah.
You know, how many-
Yeah.
you know,
Is there
how's
a
the
rule, like, only
how's the
one-time
judging- How's the
consumption?
judging kind of working?
Well, the judging starts, ends, the drop offs end on the 7th. So the judging will go from the 7th up until the 22nd.
Gotcha.
So they have over 2 weeks,
Yeah.
enough time, to reset your palate and give a fair assessment. And then we brought the ganjieras also on to assess the weed without a biased opinion.
Oh, smart.
So, you might have a strand that you might like or a specific strain that you might not like, and that might play a factor in you judging someone's sample. So we wanted to have the judges be as integral as possible, to be non-biased, and to come in and assess the product correctly.
Yeah. That's
So
neat.
that was a main factor. And again, shout out to the Urban Legend crew at the Cannabis Cup that was held at the Blue Island Bear Company.
Yep.
Yeah.
The way they did their judging panel
Yes.
is why I decided to do our judging panel the same way.
Okay.
There's a lot of integrity in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I give you? Can I let you know who gave the idea?
You.
I was sitting with Maddie from Profesh. I'm going to take credit for this one. We're sitting at a Profesh we Remember the upstairs when it rained?
Yeah.
We were at Cheesy's.
Yep.
Was it Cheesy's?
Yep.
So we're sitting I'm ordering food and she's sitting next to me. We're talking. She goes, we were talking about the year before and how crazy it was. And I'm like, you had 64 entries.
Yeah, didn't
and
they have a live judging?
64 live judging.
yeah,
I said, that is next to impossible to get an accurate judge. She goes, well, I don't know what to do. I said, enter a month early or 2 or 3 weeks early and let everyone fucking smoke it all the way leading up to, and then take your top 10 and then they all smoke it again at the event and try it one more time.
Yeah.
And then you give your judge your final. I don't know if they did the final judging smoke out there, but I just remember being there and they did the judging. They judged and then they did the winners. I don't know if they smoked it one more time or they just had all the winners leading up to it. But yeah, we had that. She goes, that was a good. We had that conversation. I'm like, it's impossible. Like you just said,
It is.
Yeah,
It's not
impossible.
assessed fairly.
Yeah.
Yes.
The first half might not be assessed as fairly as the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second half is going to
And
get
you're
put on the
baked
back
as
burner.
fuck after 10
And even if
fucking
you're,
joints, you're
even if
baked
it
as
went to
fuck.
like, if it becomes like a visual or like a sensory judging,
Yeah.
even after a few strains, that gets challenging.
Yeah.
So it's not even just about like you can only consume so much; you also can only see so much.
Yeah, and your
Right?
palate can only take
Yeah.
so much.
So much.
Just like beer competitions
yeah,
too, back in
the
the day.
You have to
flavors.
clear
Yeah.
your palate, just like wine
Yeah.
judging. They have palate
Yeah.
clears for all that.
And it's tough to do like beer competitions back in the day when I worked in the beer industry. There's no way you can taste 15 IPAs and tell which one's the best in one day.
No.
My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth after 3.
Or,
you know what I'm
or you're
saying?
sloshy by the,
Yeah.
halfway through.
Right.
Oh, that one was
So
good.
doing this is fair because if they smoked a strain every couple of days, gave it like maybe smoked a nug 2 days in a row of the same one to really, because you never know, next day it might taste a little different on their palate, so they can really get a better judge. And if someone did it right, that 2 weeks of just being able to try 10 different strains or 15 different strains gives the judges a better opportunity to really like describe, look, taste, feel, touch, smell, all of it without their palates getting screwed up, their nose hairs getting burnt out. You know what I'm saying? So it's just better. I like this competition, and I like the way they did it at Urban Legend. I like the way you guys took that and used also ganjiers and people that studied weed, no bud structure, know what to look for with certain smells, certain strains. It might be a lineage of a strain they might have heard of. Might be a new creation, a hybrid that was crossed with 2 different strains, and they might know the 2 here, but they never smoked that, so it could blow some people's minds. Sure. So I do like that you gave it that much time for them to really enjoy it.
Yeah. And we also tried to keep the judging crew anonymous, except for Danny, that obviously had the people underneath him, because there's a lot of cracks I see in these competitions to where a lot of the participants know who the judges are, or there's an open call to where just random people can go onto a website and pay, or be a judge. So, people
Yeah,
can infiltrate things like that. You might, hey,
They
you
get
can get
influenced.
10 homies, not to say that that's happening, but you never know. So
Right.
just to alleviate all that nonsense that goes on, we wanted to make it integral. And we also kept the judging crew anonymous. So nobody knows who's who, and nothing can be infiltrated or compensated.
Illinois only, or they can come from anywhere?
It was Midwest. We were open to everybody.
Midwest Terps.
We
anywhere.
have, we did have a participant coming in from Michigan that will be out here
Nice.
Saturday. So I actually will be meeting them at the Blue Island Beer Company
Nice.
on Saturday.
Shout out, Alan.
Yeah, to pick up an entry there.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the difference between the two, you kind of talked about between salts versus organics. Just give me like a little bit more. Like, what would we look for as a judge when you're going into salts versus organics? If I was a judge and I was smoking, would it be something I want to look at for? Like, in that, can I taste the nutrients? Did they flush it out right? Or can I taste? Or 'cause sometimes you can taste poop.
Sometimes you can.
Yeah.
Well, we tried to keep everything blind. So Danny obviously received the entries, and then everything's going to be relabeled, numbered, so the judges won't actually know whether it's organic or salts.
Ah.
So
it is kind
It's
of
going to
blind
be
in
a
a
full assessment
Yeah.
on fair grounds.
if they do taste though some poop, or they do taste some salts, are they going to negatively rate that? Is it part of the competition?
It depends on their
It is.
palate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a mark off X bad? I
It
taste
is.
it.
I don't want to give away their
No, I got
guidelines
you.
on
Yeah.
how they're doing it, but they do have a checklist of criteria that they're going through and looking for. And I don't want to say that is or not one of them. But
Gotcha.
there is specific things that they look for on a non-biased
Gotcha.
judgment.
Yeah.
Yep.
T, are you pissed that you're not part of the judging? You can try all that great weed.
Yeah. Do you guys get to try all the entries?
Man. No,
No.
we're not. We didn't get to look at them.
Oh.
No.
It's
Leftovers.
it's like, damn, I don't get to try it. But at the same time, it's like we're always at an event. So somebody's always like, try this, try this, try this. And there's always something. So it's not like I'm missing out, but I am. It's more like I might have smoked from a few of these growers already and just never really paid attention.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're missing out.
Yeah.
We saw
I think you're missing out.
We were at the Homegrown Supply Inc. in St. Charles. What was it, on Wednesday? We were there Wednesday, 2 to 8, picking up entries. And let me tell you, some of these people brought the real deal.
Yeah.
I was
You
looking
were
at some of the
impressed?
entries. I might have been intimidated had I
Yeah?
been in the competition, for sure.
Wow.
They were that good.
Wow.
I mean, we didn't get to smell them, but I mean, we looked at them through the jars, and
And it was
yeah,
good
there's-
stuff.
they came out for this one for sure.
yeah. Is
They
that
did.
Brian's shop?
In St. Charles, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fun.
Yep.
That's cool.
The
He does
homegrown-
a lot of meetups there, right?
Yeah, nice fella. He
Yeah.
was, man.
Is that the first time you met him?
It was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep, he was
super
there
nice
when
guy,
we
right?
went there, and
he's a G. He's been doing it a long time.
he
Yeah.
is a great dude, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not meet us and know us, because it was lined up through somebody else, third party, but we did get to meet him
Yeah.
firsthand when we went there. Nice dude, man.
Yeah.
I got no, yeah.
He's got a
He's got
a good
huge
seed bank, doesn't
he's
he?
got a
Yeah.
ginormous seed bank.
I
Yeah.
saw some seeds
Yeah.
when I was in there from some of the breeders that
He's
he's
got a
got
book.
on display.
A booklet. It's very big.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, awesome dude, man. Yeah, if anybody needs any supplies, go to Homegrown Supplies Inc. in St. Charles and get what you need, for
he's
sure.
been around a long time too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Do you have anything to ask about the salts for a second?
Yeah. Like this is your kind of side project hobby, right? In Illinois, we don't have a caregiver program, but essentially you guys are like craft caregivers. You're taking care of the public who wants quality medicine. So how does that make you feel? Like, is that you guys grow super, super good flower? So how does that make you feel? It kind of, I think maybe gives you a little like responsibility, right? Because you've kind of set this bar for yourself, and there's an audience that wants your product, that wants good quality product, and they're willing to maybe not go to a dispensary to get it, right? Is that okay that I say that?
Yeah, everybody's has a preference,
Right,
and has
right,
the right
yeah.
to choose. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's people that seek what you have, and that puts some responsibility on you. So how does that affect you and how you do your business? That's a deep question, right?
I'm gonna let him take that one. Go ahead.
Like, do you feel responsible, like, to produce like a
absolutely?
like,
It's some
a super
responsibility.
high quality? Yeah,
It's about putting out the best product for everybody able to take in and enjoy. Why would I want to either cut corners and make something inferior, or try to jack up the price and then make and cut off it? I want flowers to be enjoyed by everybody.
Yes.
It's not to be something like, only this certain group can do it. No. When I stayed out in Seattle, it was Hemp Fest, and like just hundreds, thousands of random people. And you're just all having this giant session. You don't know each other, but you're all connected through flowers. So it's like flowers to be shared. It's not to be hoarded or anything like that, but you're also supposed to try to get the best out of it, so you can see the love and attention that different growers put into it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Sounds like hell yeah. Shoddy, producer in the house tonight. Shoddy helping out. Loving that right there.
Really cool.
I love it. I love when Shoddy comes. Shoddy doesn't come to the show too often. We get him maybe once or twice a year to come and sit in the studio with us. Yeah, we love. Yes, we love. You can't. Yeah, we love Shoddy. We're so glad. We love when she comes to the show. We love when she those little one-liner comments out there. She's fun. We love her to death. Thank you, Shoddy, for always being and helping out the fam. We love
ding,
it.
ding, ding for you.
I've said this for a long time. Flower, weed brings people together. It doesn't matter where you're from. You can be anywhere around the world. I've smoked. I'll tell a quick story. We were in Croatia, and we were in Dubrovnik, and we went and saw the sunset on the cliffs. You can go on the cliffs. There's a bar built into the cliff, and we're sitting there having a beer.
It's a walled city.
Yeah,
and this bar, like, you walk through the wall.
Yeah,
and you're on the outside of the wall, like on the
cliffs.
Like the cliff, it's just a rocky cliff. And then all these boats are going by into the sunset. And it's just this little bar playing American music, and all they serve is beer.
Yeah.
Bottled beer.
It was great.
It was amazing.
Sounds like something
Absolutely amazing.
So when I went on this trip, people, don't bring flour with you, you're going to get in trouble, blah, blah, blah. So I had a pen on me, I had edibles, and I had tinctures, and I had syrup, as I call it. It was a tincture with, it was like a soda syrup with weed in it. Right. It was great. But I didn't bring any flour, and I was dying for fucking flour. We're on the 8th day now of this trip, and I'm dying for some fucking flour. I don't want the cart anymore. It's not even hitting, getting me high. I'm edibled enough. They're not even getting me high anymore. The syrup still did. Because I fucking... So we're in Dubrovnik, and we are having a great day. Just got the sunset, had a couple beers, and all of a sudden we're walking out, and all of a sudden... She pokes me on the side. She goes, "You smell?" I said, "Fuck yeah, I smelled that right at the moment we walk out of the fucking cliff. I smelled that shit."
Like, we got to find that.
She goes to me, "Go find it, hound." I found that shit and fucking...
He did. He disappeared down an alleyway and found these...
It was two fucking waiters outside of a restaurant.
Smoking.
Taking a smoke
Yeah, out
break.
back.
And also, I had a weed shirt on.
Like,
I had a cross, a green cross with all the different weed strains in there and shit like that. And I walk up to him like, "I smoke weed. I'm pointing. I'm thinking, look. And I'm like, and they're like, "Oh, you smoke?" I'm like, "I would love to smoke with you right now." And this dude, he had a fatty honker, fucking old school rolled joint, but honker, no tip, nothing, just still like they just started smoking it, so there was a lot. So I said, "Listen, I'll trade you though. I feel bad smoking your weed. I'll trade you." I had a bunch of 2.5 milligram mints in a fake mint thing, so it was like a icebreaker mint, but with THC mints in there. So I'm like, "I'll give you the whole thing if you let me smoke with you." Like, no, just give us a couple. They didn't even know what it was. They just probably thought it was mints. I'm like, "This is that. What you're smoking, this is that. This will get you." I fucking can't speak Croatian, so I'm fucking, just trying to get them to understand. I smoked this weed with these guys. We went around like we just smoked the whole thing. It was great. It was fucking fire weed. And like, we grow this here. We grow this. The two guys, the two waiters, grow it in their house. I'm like, oh
What are
shit.
the odds of that? Yeah.
So, but the thing I'm getting at is, weed brings people together.
Yep.
I was in another country. They didn't know me. I could have been a fucking narc or something, and they fucking shared their weed with me.
Yep.
I was going to ask them if I could buy some more, but I didn't want to be that desperate, but I was high for like remember how high I was?
Yeah.
And then I walked away from those guys going, "I find weed everywhere." The weed man is here.
I got a story like that too.
But
Man.
tell us.
I was born in Africa, so I went back to Africa about 10 years ago, and it's me, my dad, and my sister. We're at a restaurant, and my uncle picked us up from the airport, so we're eating. And I smoked cigarettes at the time. So I went outside to smoke a cigarette. And as I'm out there smoking a cigarette, I'm like, man, fucking some weed. And like you were saying, there was a balcony. So I'm outside and there's a balcony across from me with like a bush. And as I'm smoking the cigarette, I smell weed. I'm like, where's that coming from? I'm looking.
Where is it?
And there's like a bush right there. And then this guy pops out from the bush. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, I'm like, hell yeah, let me get that. I'm fresh off an 18-hour flight from the U.S. to Kenya.
Yeah.
And I hit the
Shout
joint.
out Kenya, one of our biggest top 8 countries
Really?
in the world. Kenya,
That's where I was born. I was
talking
born
about Kenya for years.
I
They
was
listen
born-
to the fucking
That's
Weedman
cool.
out
I was
there.
born there. I was born there.
Yeah, I know. I knew you and I get along. The Kenyans
was
love
born
us
there.
over there.
But I ended up hitting the joint from him, and I gave him $20 for a joint. And I'm like I said, on the other side of the world. And as soon as I get done with the joint, I go back to the table where my sister and my dad is. And as soon as I sit down, my sister's like, "Really?"
And you're like, yeah.
And I had to tell her, I didn't go. It found me. I was out there, you know.
Yeah,
but
sure,
I
weed man
didn't,
right there
you know.
knows where to
and
find
my
weed.
sister, and funny story about my sister. She's born on a 420. She has a
Oh my
birthday on
gosh.
420. She's the total opposite. She doesn't smoke.
No
Her
smoke.
Sounds like my
husband-
mock. She's
Yeah,
born on
her
420
husband's
too.
ATF, DEA,
Oh,
all that not fun shit. But yeah. But I get down, I sit down, and she's like, "Really?" You know, you can't help, like you said. You
Fuck
can't.
yeah.
There's
Really.
probably some Landry, skunky Landry's fucking
And
strain
like you
out there.
said, I got me fucking lit, and I had that joint, and I think that joint lasted me 3 days. I took a couple hits,
Yeah, it
you
was
know, all
enough.
throughout the day
Yeah.
for 3 days. It
Yeah.
was a $20 joint that I had to make last for 2 weeks.
I
while
love
was
it.
on the other side of the world.
That's great.
But-
You know when you're
Shout out Kenya,
traveling
baby.
and you
Yeah.
don't have weed with you, or you're gone like too long in the day,
Man.
you didn't expect to be gone that long, and you don't have any weed, and, and then
Yeah.
you like pass a car and it smells
And
like
it's-
weed, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, smell it.
you want to like
Highway
chase the
too.
person
Yeah.
down.
In Africa, you
I
can go to
need them.
jail for 20 years for a joint.
Oh,
in Africa. It's
whoa.
really frowned
Whoa.
upon, but I think they just did municipal in South Africa. So
Yes.
Wow.
South Africa is starting.
Yeah.
They were trying to
Hopefully-
ban edibles.
But they
And
started.
they tried to ban edibles, and now they fixed it. Now they did not ban edibles. It's weird.
Yeah, so they started the forefront. So, like, if you go upward north in Africa, yeah, you'll get 20, 30 years for some weed easily.
That's
It'll
nuts.
change.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Oh, it'll change. So I want to say congratulations because you
Yeah.
sent me a text the other day. You won, man. First competition of the fucking year.
Ah, man.
Not just one. You fucking knocked out. Well, here's what. Okay, so you won 2 out of the 4, right? There was 4 different flower entries, right?
Right.
You won 2 of the 4. But then I didn't even know you were fucking making hash.
Not us.
But you entered hash, right?
Right. Our Michigan location.
Right.
Entered hash. We placed with the hash, and then we placed with the flower. So it was, clarify this, it was a subgroup for the Cannabis Cup. So they had indica, sativa, hybrid. They had skunk category, candy category, and gas category. This was our first competition that we entered that we didn't place in any standard flower
Okay.
placements. But we did get a subgroup where it was best of skunk. So our concentrate that we have here, which is a garbage marker.
Oh, so
Took
fuck,
the
I can't wait to
it took
smoke
the
it.
overall. So they had
It's skunky.
they had four subgroups. So it was best skunk. They had indica, sativa, hybrid, and then they had the concentrate. We were in there for the indica, and then for the concentrate, and our concentrate took overall for the.
Wow.
So
Sweet.
a small win to start the year.
Yeah.
That concentrate made
Yeah.
the best. You know when you eat something sour, and like the jowls in the
It,
back
like,
of your
zings
throat,
your throat.
zings you. When you opened that up and I smelt it, my jowls was like,
It's stinky.
wow, it was like
Yeah.
eating a sour
He's been
candy.
hoarding it. That
Yeah?
was
Yeah.
the first time I got to smell it. I didn't. That was after the win. He's been hoarding that.
Man, you see that? It was one prick of a dab going. It ain't even really been even tapped.
Yeah, but I can agree. It definitely
That's
tickled
good.
my nose, man. That,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It
I
made-
wish
made
I would
my
have opened it
jowls
on
go.
while we were recording because, like, shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Smell
a
that
stinky one, man.
It's stinky.
Yeah.
What were the strains?
The strain that we entered was garlic
Right?
cherries, which was in the indica.
Okay.
And then this was the garbage marker, which is, I believe Josh did a combination of permanent marker
It
and
was a great strain.
our item 9. which is an in-house strain that we have.
Oh, we haven't tried that one.
No, that's a new one.
That's a secret one. Is that's on the secret menu?
every time it gives me right in the back of the throat.
Yeah?
Right in the back of the throat. So, since you started a salts versus organic competition, when you entered your weed this time, was it salts or organics?
We're strictly salts. All we do is salts. We started off organically, believe it or not, and I did a side by side with the salts versus organics. I did an in-house comparison, and it wasn't enough for me to stay with the organics. Personal preference, different strokes for different folks, but for me, price-wise and what I saw come out it made me veer to the salts. And I think with salts, and not to take anything away from the organic growers, I think with salts, you're more aware of what's going on. You can take more corrective action versus salts. It's time release. You're doing teas, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing amendments.
Organics, right?
Right. And then 90% of the time, you're just adding your pH water, the time release, whatever's in the soil.
It's a lot of work.
It is. So you have to amend your soil, and you have to get it to a point to where when you add your water and whatever you put in there, you don't have a negative reaction. And then if you do have a negative reaction, it's hard to compensate it. It's hard to fix it. It's hard to take corrective action. So for me, I'm keen to details. I'm anal retentive. I OCD, all that not fun shit. But when I walk into a room, I could see the most minute thing going wrong with the plant, and I immediately know I need to fix something. And that's the thing with salts. You can take that corrective action immediately and fix something before it's too late.
I've tried organics and I've tried salts, and I always seem to go back to salts because it's tough, and especially if you're doing a little grow room, like a little 2-plant, 3-plant tent, and you have 5-gallon pot, and you have to keep on adding soil. You leave, like I left a lot out, so I just keep adding more because you run out of juice. Yeah, not enough squeeze. And especially if you had a big grow room, and you can. For me, I would love to try a more in depth organics than what I was trying. It's just, but I always end up having to add something to get that plant where I needed it to be, especially towards like mid flower, when it was like no juice left in that dirt, and you're adding whatever you can. You're adding more soil, you're adding some amendments, but it ain't enough. Especially if you only got room for 2 5-gallon pots, it's just not enough. So I've learned that lesson, and I know exactly what you're talking about. It's not easy. It's not easy.
The smallest mistake would go 2-3 weeks, and there's corrective action, but it takes time.
Right.
And for me, I don't have time to waste. I got to keep it moving.
Yeah. Time's fucking money. And money's time. So how's the current grow looking? What do you got in the hopper? You were telling us a little bit while we were eating some pizza. You were talking about how many fucking moms you got. How many moms do you have?
Where we at, Tom?
We're talking about plants here. How many mom plants do you have?
I think we just might have cracked 80 for our Illinois location, and I think our Michigan farm is a little bit under 60, maybe at so maybe 160 between the two locations. Yeah.
Growing different things at both.
Yeah, there's a little bit of variation between the two, but for the most part, our genetics emulate each other, emulate the farms. Yeah,
nice.
What's your oldest mom? Do you even know? With that many in the book, like what would be the one also that if you lost would be like a heartbreaker?
Tongue drop.
Oh, that's
jeez,
that's a wrecker right there. Yeah. You smoked that.
She's one of your moms.
She's won first place in every competition we've put in. She's won first place 3 times in three different competitions.
She's a thoroughbred.
Yeah, she's.
Huh.
Yeah. But I think our oldest mom would have to be our lemon cherry gelato.
Great one.
And there's a story behind that. I went to California 4 years ago, and I went out there to look for some old equipment. I was getting ready to switch over from HPS to LED, and ordered some weed from the dispensary. I didn't know they had delivery service, and the hotel guy was like, yeah, you can pull up this app and have it delivered right to the. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm from Chicago, like, really? So one of the strands I ordered was lemon cherry gelato, and I was so blown away by it. When I got home, I was on the hunt for a cut of it or seeds, and by that time, I think the release of lemon cherry gelato, because there was a lot of hype that it was supposed to be runts, but it wasn't runts. It was lemon cherry gelato, so it was hard to find or the right seed. But I found somebody with a clone in the Bay Area in California where I had just came from on Instagram, and I was like, hey, you got lemon cherry gelato, so we ended up hooking up. Yep,
sweet.
and
Nice.
so I've had that cut for about 4 years now.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so it's a full grown plant, and you just take
You
take
just recycle it,
Yeah.
reset it.
so cool.
What would be a couple tips would you give to a new caregiver, home grower? Would be a tip, like just an early stage tip, not too long. T, what would you do too? Because you guys are partners and you guys do a lot of
Don't
work
get
together.
discouraged easy.
Huh?
Don't get discouraged easy. Takes time. Think like you ain't going the right way, and it's gonna click for you like a light bulb turning on.
E, any tips?
Treat the product as if you smoke it, and you'll go a long way. You know?
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I treat my grow as if I smoke it because I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if you hold yourself to that standard, people will hold you to a high standard, and then you know, I think
You always
last
coming
year-
out with that mad scientist. Like, I think I got it, or try this. I'm like, I got this. I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
I
I was
come-
nervous coming into this year because of all the wins that we did last year, you know, and then speaking, you know, of the caregiver, and you know, when you win 9 placements with 7 different strands, you set the bar high. I was like, Tom, what did we do? We set the bar too high for ourselves.
Yeah.
How are we
How do we
going to
do
match
this?
that this year?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? You know,
Yeah.
but you know, consistency is key, and as long as you, like you said, don't get discouraged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and keep growing it like
Yeah.
the best product you would want for yourself, right?
Treat it as if
Yeah.
you smoke it
Yeah.
because you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any what is your most dramatic story about your grows? Like, do you have one story that stands out, like a complete disaster, or maybe like a failure but a funny one? Do you have like a go-to story?
Yeah. We've got taken out 2 times. We've had to do a complete reset in flower 2 weeks before harvest. Two times.
What?
One time was because of aphids.
Look at it.
I hate those bugs. I hate those bugs.
We had an
Just
aphid.
did a whole show with
We
Big
had an
Earl
aph-
on IPM.
We
Just
had
did a whole show on that shit.
We had
Bugs.
an aphid. My buddy in Michigan, I took a picture of it, and he was like, "You got an aphid party," and it's not what you really want in your garden, because I don't know if people out there know, but they're asexual. They don't need a partner to reproduce. The offspring
know
are
that.
born pregnant. Yeah, and then the offspring can reproduce in 7 days after being born. So if you don't catch it in time, it gets out of hand real fucking fast.
Shit.
And we had to discard a whole harvest 2 weeks before we were taking it down. I could have saved the crop. I could have went in there and did some dirty shit with some nasty shit and harvested and put it out there but you know, like I said, I treat it as if I smoke it because I do. So we took down the whole crop, discarded it, reset everything. The next run, we got taken out by the viroid.
Oh no, back to back.
Back to back. So
Shit.
not only did we discard that run, but it wasn't a total loss. We ended up like turning that run into edibles. And, but we had to do a reset on all the genetics we had. We had to discard everything.
Whoa.
Everything had to go.
And there's got to be like major like cleaning processes and like stripping down the whole room.
Yep. You learned the hard way. I thought I was disinfecting everything correctly with isopropyl. Isopropyl does not get the viroid. You have to do a 10% bleach mixture to make sure.
To everything?
Yeah. So it got to the point after the viroid happened, I went and bought like 100 pairs of scissors. I would have a pair of scissors for each plant.
Yeah.
You know, they say you can do a dip and go, but me, I'm like, nope, I'm
not risking
taking any
it.
chances.
Yeah.
Each plant gets their own pair of scissors, and that's just the way I've been rolling since, you know. But
so it's still that way?
Here and there, I can't say
but that's your go, like that's
but,
your,
you know, I keep 1 pair of scissors per strand. So if I have 5 different strands, I'll have 5 pairs of scissors.
Okay. And then if something happens, it just stays with those plants, hopefully.
Well, within that genetic line,
Yeah.
it doesn't contaminate. And then some strands may have the viroid and you don't know it. Some strands will not visually show any effect. So you could transfer it to another plant without even knowing it. Yeah, so it's a tricky game. So
yeah.
tread lightly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Deep Roots Genetics, Rachel.
Yeah.
Listen to that episode on the Grow Hour if you want to know about how to clean.
IPMs.
We did a whole show on that. She killed it, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
If you ever need anything tested, Deep Root Genetics, go see Rachel out in Michigan. She's the shit. She's good stuff. All right. Here's the thing. We talked last time when we had you on the show about, large cultivation, right? And where we see the industry going. But the future. Now, been in weed a very long time, but also I worked in the craft beer industry for a very long time, for 12 years. And I always, the two are so mirrored nowadays, it's not even funny. Because you look at, your macro breweries, the big Millers, Buds, bazillion barrels a year, was the market until 30 years ago. And then all of a sudden you start seeing small batch brew, craft brew start springing up. And then 2014 to today, there's 11,000 freaking craft breweries around the United States. Some are bigger than the others now and stuff like that. But you still have your Buds, your Millers, your Coors, and people still drink it.
Yep.
Coronas, Modelos, they still drink it.
Budget buy.
Yeah, millions of barrels a year. It's going to taste the same here, and it's going to taste the same in California. It's going to taste the same in overseas. It never changes. And here's the thing about the future of growing. You have still your traditional market, caregiver, small batch growers, and you have your basically your large growers, your big cultivators now. And my gosh, we've read so many articles in the last couple of weeks about these large grows, just mold issues and
just poor quality.
Very poor quality that we as a consumer get stuck with. So where do you see the future though of small batch grow heading? Because it's still there. Home grow is still a big thing. I know a lot of home growers have been growing for 20 years. Still to this day, they won't smoke anybody's weed but their own or people they know and trust. Where do you see the future in the next, you're going to see this wave of major cultivation next 10, 15, 20 years because the market's still so young and everyone's going to play and try to make $1 bazillion off it. And
I always say that there's going to be like the Starbucks of cannabis and there's going to be the Dunkin' Donuts of cannabis,
Walmart
right?
Yes.
Right. There's just going to be, but there's always going to be this niche space of people that want more bang for their buck.
Tell us a little about
quality.
Small batch growing. Where do you see it going away or do you see it still going to run the way it's been running, or do you see it actually getting bigger?
That's intricate and tricky question. I think it could go both ways. I think the legal market is really going to determine that, because there's a lot of uninformed people out there that still go to the dispensary that aren't aware of what's going on with the craft. The people that really put the time in to make sure that things are done correctly. So, that aspect of it. And then, the bud tenders don't do their fair share of work either. Everything, in my opinion, everything these days is based on a THC percentage, which I think is a false flag. Just don't go in there looking for the highest THC. Go in there and look for something that suits you. Don't let the numbers suit you. That's how I like to say it. But I think it could go either ways. I think it would boil down to people being informed more on that, and if they lax the laws or maybe even introduce a caregiver program in Illinois, that might help.
Be amazing.
That might help.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
because they destroyed it in Michigan.
Yeah, that's going to shit. But
destroyed it.
I think those more information and then more opportunity and more accessibility, I think, would take the craft grow a little bit further. But I think if you take away from those same aspects, that would cause a decline in it.
Now you're on the streets. You see it. What do you see? Do you see more people heading your way because they're realizing what better weed is? Or do you see them still going more and more to a dispensary? Which nothing's wrong with. It's the only place some people can get their weed,
More like 60-40. You start to see some people start drifting towards more better quality instead of the dispo. But then you still get the people who be like, it's just edibles and I trust it and I feel like it's safe and all this and it's like you have to still inform them like, hey, just like you wouldn't go to a store and buy giant chicken wings it's that same issue I got with a lot of dispo stuff, and there's something there, and it's just not meshing right with how I metabolize it.
Makes sense. Yeah. You see, I mean, all right, so competitions are growing more and more than ever, right? And more competitions in states for hash competitions, flower competitions, edible competitions. I mean, you had High Times, which is not even around anymore. Can you believe that? Can you believe
I went to the first one in the U.S. in Seattle.
Yeah. So, I mean, High Time Cups was a start for it years ago. They're not even a thing anymore. You know, they're gone. Goodbye. You could have bought their domain name if you wanted to. It was on sale.
Really?
Yep. They had like 15 of their domain names on sale. You could have bought like 2 months ago. They were on sale. It was crazy. They were selling them anywhere between $1,000 to like $15,000 for some of their domains.
That could have been very profitable if you do it right. Yeah.
If you bought it, yeah. And but as competitions, you see, do you think that it's making the scene stronger, or do you think it's making it more divided? Is this the pink lemonade?
Now we're on to the apple
Banana Sunday.
Apple
banana sundae.
Because you've been doing competitions for a while now.
No, last.
Well, I'm talking about now for a year.
1 year,
right?
1 year.
So, but you've been in a lot of competitions in 1 year.
8.
That's a lot. That's almost one a month, right?
You know,
3/4 of the year.
So here's the thing,
competing.
because there was a competition here in Illinois, and it was a really good competition. It was Hash Bash. What the hell was it called? Hash rosin competition about a year ago. About a year
I was
and a half
there.
ago.
I remember.
That.
Yeah, I was
First
there.
time I met you.
Yeah.
Illinois rosin competition.
Illinois rosin competition.
Yes.
And I'm only bringing this up because I thought it was a fucking phenomenal competition. It was banging. The place was packed. People were buying. People were smoking, and the hash was fire. And there was some cool motherfucking cats there. But the after stories that I heard that went on after of the arguments of, oh, this person shouldn't have been in because they were from a different state. I thought it was only supposed to be Illinois, and then there was this issue, and there was this issue. And I'm only bringing this up because it's competition.
Can I say one word?
Sure.
Transparency.
Yeah, there you go.
It solves so many problems.
There you go. It's pretty
right?
good.
Illinois says it all.
Lay it all out
Illinois
on the table. Let people know what you're doing. The more information people have, the more comfortable and trustworthy they may feel.
Yeah.
That's
why we went with Midwest.
Yeah.
It's broad.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
No.
Right.
Well, it was everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, though. I like competition. I think competition brings out the best in people. It makes them strive to be better than they were before. The one thing I hate about competition is it brings people into a divided fucking scenario. Like
It can.
Some people get pissed off for stupid shit, and that's the kind of stuff. It's fun. You're not. Listen, this is not going to make or break your fucking life.
No.
You know what I'm saying? If you won, I don't know what the prizes are, and you don't even have to tell me what the prizes are. My thing is
recognition.
Right. It's recognition.
We're paying. We're dropping off weed, and we're paying.
So to be a winner at one of these competitions is a big deal, but you shouldn't be so egotistical about it. It should be fun.
It is.
This is the one thing that kills me. This should be a fun thing that we all get to have fun at. Someone wins, great, praise that person. I'm going to try harder next year to make my grow better, so I want to win next year, but not getting in arguments over stupid shit.
Yep.
This is supposed to be a community of what the plan is all about. You know,
Yeah, but competition.
I said competition is good. It
But
does bring
people
out the worst in some
innately
people. Is what I'm trying to get
It
at.
gets fierce, yeah.
And it gets
It gets fierce.
Yeah, for some people it's really
And I guess
that's all it is. Like
I guess I don't.
they
like
want to
that.
win.
And
I know,
understand
but
that. I always wanted to win
there's-
too until I got older and I realized like it's not always about winning. It's about just like fucking.
I think what you're
doing your
saying is
best.
that you wish
Yeah.
that the community could have these competitions to set a bar and kind of set a standard for what people should expect, to allow growers and breeders to mix and engage and learn from each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
This is supposed to be
encourage
special.
one another, and then to remain humble so that then the community can approach you and be part of what you're doing. Like it's kind of an all encompassing.
Because it'll
it's
scare
not
somebody
just about the
new.
grower.
It'll scare
Yeah.
somebody new who's just starting out. Maybe maybe in a year from now I can enter my weed in.
Right.
But then they see the argument stuff and they see the people fighting over something stupid. That person's
Or
like,
they're just intimidated by
Right.
the competition.
then they get intimidated and they don't want to do it. And you'll
So-
never know what that grower could have become.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the kind of stuff I don't like. I believe in competition. I believe that people showcasing their weed.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. I just don't like some of the after effects that happens. Oh man, their judging sucked. Oh, well then you fucking do
that's
this.
always that's part
You
of
know what it might
competition.
be.
That's
You set
part
this up.
that
You
right.
know how long- I've been
You can
talking-
control some of it
Right.
though by having transparency and
I think an opinion is allowed as long as it doesn't go
Yes.
outside the box.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've had opinions about certain judges and the way things, you know, but I think, like you said, it shouldn't go out and
like
it
a
shouldn't-
personal
it shouldn't
attack
bleed. Right,
or
right. It
yeah,
shouldn't be that Debbie Downer that has something bad to say. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Or like when you get like
it
everybody
just
kind of
makes you look
gangs
like a
up
sore
and
loser,
then
you know. And
Yep.
Because once someone starts it off on Reddit or social media somewhere,
It just goes downhill.
It just
it does.
It just
You got the
pisses me off.
bandwagon jumpers,
Yeah.
and then that one thread turns into 30. You
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
And most of the
Yeah.
people don't even really know the argument.
Nope.
But they're just in it
Nope.
just
It
for the
should just
drama.
feel like it's a potluck then. At that
Yeah,
point, to
right?
get rid of the competition.
Anybody?
It's just
Anybody?
you bring your dish, and it's like, of course, as human, the judge, that's what we're gonna do.
Right.
But sometimes you just like, okay, let me try this. I've never had this, or I've never had. Oh, wait, I've had this, but I've never had it like this. So I like maybe it's just a potluck, and we need to just stop considering it a competition when it's not. It's just us showing off our
Yeah.
best desserts.
I like the potluck
Yeah.
idea.
Mm.
You
Imagine
know?
that would be a fun potluck.
potluck. See,
That's what I'm
Bring
trying to-
leftover
I've
containers.
been a part of a few where it got ugly, and I don't want to see the ugliness being brought out because competition brings out the worst in a lot of people, or in some people, or in many people, or in a few people. It just depends on how many
Anybody.
people enter. You know, and I want to see this keep on going and be positive. Man, if someone wins, praise them. Be welcome. I'm gonna grow a different strain next year and win next year. You know, that's the kind of stuff I want to see: is the camaraderie, the friendships, not scaring people away, but bringing more people into this. That's all I'm saying.
That's why we did subgroups with the salts versus organic. So there is one category where it is salts versus organic, may the best winner win. But we also did an organic category
Nice.
and a salt category.
Love
so
Nice.
the best of the salts, you get the best of the organics, and then we put the two together and made the best person win. So
Yeah.
we did a one winner takes
I like
all
that.
for the salts versus organics, and then first to third for each subgroup.
Ooh.
And then we have the live judging, no smokability, just assessed by bag appeal and smell. So we're not going to be there until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
trying to
I'll
smoke
have my
50
microscope at
strands.
my
Right.
I'll have my microscope at the Weedman
That's cool.
420 Chronicles table, 8 decades table. So if you want to bring some of those buds over to me and look
Nice.
under the microscope, hell yeah,
we could
them up on the
implement that
screen.
into the judging.
yeah,
Sure.
bring it over.
Yeah.
'Cause it is
or take
bad.
our microphone back to the judges.
There you go.
Or the microscope,
Yeah,
not
there you go.
microphone.
Yeah, I'll have my. I now that comes to the table with me everywhere now, so
Yeah.
I love it. I love looking at
Yeah,
it. So
I saw it at the Brunch of Stoners.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was good stuff.
That was a nice setup.
Yeah. So, talking about growing and everything that you're doing, when you're looking at flower, like when you're looking at genetics, maybe, and now you see the product of that plant. How do you determine? Like, how do you pick your strains? How do you pick your genetics and decide what flower you're going to grow?
We both collectively, so like we'll have a pheno hunter, maybe 10 seeds, and I'll let him tell you his selective process because we're both different. So
Yeah.
sometimes we put the two together, and that may be that one didn't fit or that one didn't fit, but now we'll agree on collectively.
Something.
straight up, I'm going. I look through it, and whatever we've amassed, it'd be like, oh, we have this. This is more like old school strain. Like, do this. He'd be like, no, we got to do this one. It's been here for a while. I'm like, but when is this? And it's like, he has one. It's like an old school strain. And I want to say maybe it is sour diesel. It's something like that. And I was like, I'm harping on him. Like, you got to pop these. You have to pop these.
I do have a sour diesel.
Yeah.
It's by Humboldt Seed Company that's just sitting in the archive.
Ooh.
Some people like the OG strains,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
to sneak them in every once in a while is still always fun because
It
everything's
is.
hybrid now.
It is.
Everything's
I know.
crossed.
It is cookies.
So,
I know,
Cookies,
but like,
cookies.
but you ask me, you give me super silver haze. I'm like, yeah, you keep or super lemon haze too.
yeah, everything's crossed. I mean, I still would. I mean, some of the like GG4 we were talking about earlier. I gave you a couple nugs of that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting a text from you a little bit later. What you smoked at. And you took some. What did you take?
Chimera.
Yeah, so I want to hear what you feel about that. I mean,
We had a Chimera hybrid.
Oh, with the
and then we
line.
got the pure
Yeah.
chimera.
Yep, we did.
And we were calling it chimera.
I was calling it chimera, but I fuck up in
Yeah.
words. Periods. It's just I don't get paid to spell. I get paid to sell. So that's what I do.
Did you Google the creature for that?
Huh?
No.
Did you Google
Is there like a
chimera? There's
Pokemon guy?
creature, Yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm not gonna spoil it for you.
All right,
guys.
we'll have to look
it's
it
a
up.
very interesting
Like
creature.
Charizard?
Yeah.
It always makes me think of Charizard.
Oh shit! All right, tell us about this event coming up. Give us some drops. Tell us what's coming. Like, we didn't talk about the date. Really, we didn't talk about where it's at. We didn't talk about like the name of it. Tell us about it before we go.
You want to go or you want me to go?
No matters. Sauce versus Organics. Terp off. June 22nd. Out in Aurora. Drop offs now. That I'm not too sure of. I'm not gonna lie.
I think the last drop off is the 7th, which will have passed by the time this airs. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, if you're watching and you didn't enter, it's too late.
Yeah,
But,
Sorry
about
for
that.
you.
Sorry.
We'll catch you on the next one. We're going to be running a winter one, so we'll do it again in January, February. And then breaking news, Midwest Terps is going legal in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So there's a little backstory behind
Yeah.
that. We did the social equity here in Illinois, me, him, and then another person. We tried to bring on a fourth person to put in more submissions. We weren't able to do it. He ended up leaving Illinois and went to Minnesota, and they started that program out there, and he hit. So now he has a micro license, and he offered us 50% to bring what we have in the grow
Hell
room
yeah.
out there. And not only
Nice.
that, but to bring the name to Minnesota. So not only that, but we have investors that we were working with prior to this. So we have investors that have put up a $500,000 starting fund to
Yes.
help us in the process in Illinois to go legal. So we have
Woo,
that in the
yeah.
works. So we might be we're officially in Minnesota,
That's
but
awesome.
Illinois is on the table. Depending, the tax structure out here is just it's
Redonkulous.
fucked up, and I think we're too far along in the process with the license that have been issued. And I think what we've come to the conclusion is that we would have to outright buy an existing license,
Mhm.
which isn't off the table. But instead,
I know some people that have some.
But instead of starting the process and going through the state, because I think they're at 155 that they're maxing out for the state, and I think we're at like 100. We're a little bit over 100, so it's like we're getting down to the nitty gritty and the way the market's going. It might not be the best move the way the tax structure is here, but Minnesota, fresh market,
Yeah.
Midwest terms,
Fresh rack.
We're gonna set the pace out there. So here we come.
Nice.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Congrats. That's
Congrats.
awesome.
Hey,
Yeah.
Thomas Prada, you're the man.
That's awesome.
So June 22nd, Sauce
Yes, sir.
versus Organics, right?
Yep.
Where can they find it at on your social?
Midwest _ Terps _ Illinois. We just changed it to Illinois because now we have the Illinois, Michigan, and Minnesota. So we kind of labeled everything. Sorry if I stumbled there. So it's Midwest Terps _ Illinois _ I might have fucked it all up again.
You'll find them.
Midwest Terps,
We'll
Illinois.
tag you.
Yep. And then we have our promotion page, which is 20 After 4 LLC, which is where all the information is for the Cannabis Cup, the Mario Kart that we've been doing.
Mario Kart's fun.
Yeah, so we've done 3 Mario Karts. It's been done, I think, once every other month?
Did you
Yeah.
get the Switch too?
Yeah.
Yet?
Nope, not yet, but that's the next investment for part 4. But it's grown every time we've done it, and
That's cool.
it's been a blast, man. So it kind of enlightens something other than the weed and just, coming and buying weed and smoking.
Mhm.
So we created a Mario Kart Terpiment. So part 4 will be coming soon.
Hell
Cool.
yeah.
That's
Can we
great.
catch you anywhere?
Out and about around the city, actually. I'm the one that's actually just out among the people. So
people.
I'm out throwing up slabs, and sometimes maybe I'm giving out joints, sharing flour, depending on where I'm at. But I'm out. We got a weird schedule, so for me it'd be like, oh, so weird. It's a Wednesday. I'm up here. I send up pictures from a lake somewhere.
Nice. I love
Where
it.
are you?
Where can they find you on Insta or any social media?
Oh, sure. It's a higher elevation of 773. Right
Southside.
I found the image of Chimera.
Yeah, look at
This
that
is
thing.
it. But I said Chimera again, and it's Chimera, right?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like a unicorn dragon.
Yeah. That thing's badass. That'd be a badass tattoo. So thank you guys for coming
Thank you,
again.
man.
I appreciate it. Times 2. We'll probably have you back on in the winter for the Wintertime Classic. Talk about that again,
you guys
right?
for having
Talk
us,
about
man.
anything new. Smoke some new stuff. I appreciate all the goodies too.
Yeah.
Let
I'm
us
looking
know.
forward to smoking all of them because you'll have, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 weeks of fucking Midwest Turks.
We have
and
sativa in the
Oh,
house.
she's so excited.
Been a minute.
We just smoked melted
Just having
strawberries.
some nice uplifting.
Again,
Yeah.
we
That's a
smoked,
sativa.
we smoked melted strawberries on the show on Tuesday, which got released on Thursday, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Midwest Turf. Yay! So excited! So
Bada
thanks,
bang.
fellas,
Yeah.
for coming by the house, the studio, and chilling with Yuki and having some pizza and shoddy. Love when you come. Love when you
Shoddy.
come to do the show with us. Love when you're in the house. Makes everything so much smoother and nicer.
Always.
So if everyone goes to 8decades.com and buys stuff from Mrs.
That'd
Weedman,
be
I can
cool.
afford to have Shorty
That'd be
full
really
time.
cool.
It'd be great.
buy
See, there
It'd
we
be great
go.
to have
Yeah.
Shoddy
We'll
full
ship it
time.
for free.
So check out 8decades.com, everybody. Also check out these boys. Plug them up. Come to their events. They're hardworking. They do what they do best, and they keep the fucking community and the shit tight. I appreciate you guys coming out again, sharing stories, and having some fun and some good fucking smoke. I love it.
Thank you.
Ms.
If you need
Weedman.
any edibles,
Mr. Weedman.
Myra 420, baby. Let me plug her.
Oh, there you go. Myra, you got to come on the next one.
Yeah, she was supposed to be here
Yeah.
today.
We'll get you on the next round.
Next time.
We'll catch you next time. Ms. Weedman,
Mr. Weedman.
and that's the end of the show.
Yep.
You got anything else to say before we go?
Smoke smart. I know that's your saying.
What the fuck is wrong with that?
Do you know? Do you know how many hits of that joint I had?
Too many. Too many I
I
could
can't
see.
even see straight right
Keep
now.
going and keep growing.
Everybody out there in
Yeah.
the world, we love you. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puffing away.
That's it. Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.